Now, yesterday we told you about how pensioners living in private retirement homes are accusing the companies that run them of ripping them off by charging over the odds for services.
We received a huge response from viewers with many emails sharing very similar stories. Well, now one of the firms involved has promised to look into the issues which have been raised.
Esme lives in a retirement home and she's part of a growing campaign against the costs residents face for things like an on-site warden and a 24-hour monitoring system.
We're worried all the time that the charges are going up and we just aren't going to be able to meet the charges for the number of years we've got to live.
Around half of the private retirement developments in the UK are managed by a firm called Peveral and owned by Fairhold. They're both part of the same group of companies called Consensus. So yesterday morning we put these concerns to their spokesman.
The issue that we contest is that it can be done at a much lower rate. In cases where developments have gone right to manage, we have looked at the costs that are being charged overall to residents after the new management company has taken over, and the reductions in costs are about 1 to 2%.
Well, the response we've had since we covered this story yesterday morning is one of the biggest we've seen. Viewers have been getting in touch by email, by text and by phone to tell us their concerns about how the retirement home industry is run. Henry Irving's email is typical of many responses. We pay high and increasing annual maintenance charges and feel we receive in return a poor level of service. A number mention rental charges for the house manager's flat, including GL Walsh. We're paying more than £11,000 per year when you can get better properties for half that price. After our broadcast, Consensus gave us a new statement. The points made by the programme have been listened to fully. We are conducting a comprehensive review of the issues raised in conjunction with our trade associations. We continue to welcome all constructive contributions. Melissa Briggs is one of the founders of Carlex, the campaign group involved.
We're extremely happy to hear there's going to be a comprehensive review in response to our campaign. We've been pressing for this for some time, and we're hoping now that the action will arise from the campaign, which will have a positive effect for all the retirement leaseholders.
The company has also apologised for comments in yesterday's interview on Breakfast, in which the phrase dribbling geriatrics was used. It says it did not intend to cause any offence. Lucy Shepherd, BBC News.
Well, let's pick up on some of the issues raised there. Paul Lewis from Ready Force Money Box programme joins us now. Good morning, Paul. Huge response, as we said, to this story. It's really hit a nerve. Now, just take us through the kind of services we're talking about here that are being offered and complained about.
Yes. Well, the management service, the annual management fee, pays for a number of things. It pays for perhaps a laundry room, it pays obviously for building maintenance, it pays for insurance, it pays for the flat of the manager who may only be on duty 9 to 5, and that's been the source of a lot of controversy. So it's all the things you'd expect a development to have done for it.
And the complaints, I mean, we got a lot coming in yesterday, a lot of very detailed complaints about specific things that people have had charges for, don't understand, want to complain about. What have you seen?
Yes, absolutely, and we had an awful big response to Moneybox on Saturday as well. Well, one woman said it's cost me £18,000 in the years I've been here, it's taken all my money. Others have said the fees are increasing every year, we don't know what we're getting for them. And I think that's a very common theme, that people are paying a lot of money for these services, thousands of pounds a year in some cases, and they want to be really clear what they're getting for their money.
Well, I suppose it's one thing people say they're not happy with the charges, but it's another question as to whether it's legal or illegal.
Yeah.
I mean, how does it stand?
Well, under the law, charges to a leaseholder during the year have to be what's called reasonable. Now, that's one of those wonderful legal words, isn't it? And I think the first step for people to take is to look at the charges, try and find out exactly what they're for, go to the management company and we say, we think this is unreasonable. We think you could get this cheaper on the market if you went out to look at that. We think the manager's flat that we're paying for, the rent is too high. See what the company says. If they then say, go away, we think it is reasonable, then you can go to something called a leasehold and valuation tribunal. And the tribunal then decides if these charges are reasonable, and if they're not reasonable, it can order a refund, and that can go back several years. So there are processes there. ultimately residents can take the management away from the management company. If a majority vote for that, the management company can lose the responsibility for that block of flats or residential development, and it's taken over by the residents. Now that's quite a big step and quite a big job, but there are organisations that help people take that step.
All right, Paul, we'll leave it there for now. Paul Lewis from Moneybox. I know you'll probably be visiting the story again, I'm sure you will.
I'm sure a number of us will be visiting it over the next few weeks.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you.